Welcome to our 4-H Focus. Today, I am joined by Jamie Bass. She's a 4-H youth development educator with Piatt and DeWitt counties, but her 4-H story actually began in Champaign County. Welcome, Jamie.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Jen.
Could you tell us a little bit about your 4-H background?
Sure. So my dad actually was in 4-H. He was the state tractor driving champion back in the 70s. I know, fun fact for that. No, probably 60s. Sorry, in the 60s. So there's a fun fact for that. And then him and my mom met at Eastern and they moved to the farm. And one of the first people my mom met when she moved to the Philo-Tolono area was her neighbor, Beth. And Beth was the local 4-H leader. And so my mom liked kids and that, and so she got my mom involved. So my mom was a 4-H leader for over 30 years for Philo 4-H. And so I'm turned into a 4-H'er, of course. I say I bleed green, came out that way. So I was a 4-H member for 10 years in Philo. And then I started working for Extension in 2007. And then I became a 4-H educator in 2009. So I have been an educator working with 4-H programs since then.
Wow. Now, that is quite a history. What 4-H club was your dad with?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Okay.
I'll have to add. Oh, it was with St. Mary's Church there in Pasodum.
Okay.
And really random story, but my dad's family was all from like the Pasodum area. And I actually have great uncles who played softball. That is what the rural kids used to do for fun, was they would get together with their 4-H club. And they were like state softball champs. I know, super random, but I had no idea 4-H did that. But one time my great uncle was telling me about it. So
that's really interesting. I know I've heard of other counties where they've had like 4-H bowling leagues. I think that was in the 70s too, or something like that. So yeah. How neat that they were organizing sports with 4-H.
I know, and how far it's evolved and what it has come from. And we're still getting kids together today, which I think is kind of cool that we're still doing the same type of thing.
Very cool. Yeah. Now, what projects did you take when you were a 4-H'er?
When I was a 4-H'er, I took cooking. Although I say cooking, it was actually a lot of baking. I did the Tricks for Treats and You Learn to Bake. I'm sure people remember those books, and I did it with my grandma. So there's a really special memory I have of working with her. I took vegetable gardening. I can remember all the days of making sure my 12 green beans looked exactly the same. And they had the same stem on them. I took corn and soybeans, showed those since I grew up on the farm. Took child development because I babysat for many years when I was a kid, even myself. And I think you might have even babysat me thinking about that.
Probably.
We could edit that. That's pretty funny. Citizenship, leadership, exploring my family heritage, those kind of things.
Okay.
There's a lot.
That is a lot. That is a lot, and quite a range of things that you did. Do you feel that those projects play a role in what you do now?
Absolutely. I'm a mom of 2 girls, 3 and 6, and I find myself pulling in things that I used to do as a kid. So the other day, my 6-year-old made chocolate chip cookies all by herself. I did so good, stayed hands off. I just helped make sure, we didn't end up with 3 teaspoons of salt or something. But I definitely remember those experiences, and I want that for my kids at home. But then I've also turned that into my career. I mean, this is what I get to do, is empower. I get to work with youth, but then I also get to recruit adults who work with youth and do this exact same thing. So that's kind of one of the cool, neat things, is being able to find adults who have those passions, and then they spark that in kids.
So is this kind of natural that you went into working with 4-H, being with your background? Is this what you expected to do, like when you went to college and graduated?
No, I did not. I actually went to school to be a health educator. So I always say that, like, I'm kind of doing that, but it's in a different realm. I really get to do the whole gamut. I mean, today, what have I been working on is cooking program throughout history, all the way to starting up new bass fishing club and recruiting a leader and kids for that. So really, it's all over the place. But my background is in public health and community health education. And so a lot of that is behavior change and getting people to adopt things. And so I feel like I kind of do that now. I get to sell and market and try to get kids and adults interested in our program.
Well, and who better to reach than youth? I mean, if you're trying to encourage good habits and health, that's
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and I know 4-H, the state does have several programs, like youth health programs that they put out that they focus on too. So
The big one that I really like, I love doing the cooking programs because I think that is something we're seeing now of kids getting into college and out of college or even into whatever job or career field they get into, and they don't know how to cook. And so it's something that if we start them young and get them in the kitchen, they can really develop some good life skills. And it's been proven that kids eat better. So we can get them healthier, more nutritious foods if they're doing it themselves.
absolutely, yeah. So, and you did mention you are raising the next generation of 4-Hers. So that's exciting to have your girls following in your footsteps.
It is. So Aubrey's a clover bud this year. It's her first year doing it. So it's kind of interesting because it looks a little different probably than we had planned. But we're still doing it, and we're really excited. She's excited to do her little roots garden again this year. So she's been asking when she's going to start her seeds. It was a year ago at this time we started inside because we were all at home. So we actually started our seeds inside and then put them out in the garden later. So we're kind of excited to get started on that project this year.
Great. Yeah, we're trying to publicize that, the Little Roots program for clover buds, where they're growing. I think it's 6 different types of plants. I mean, including flowers and pumpkins and tomatoes, peppers, radishes. Am I forgetting carrots maybe?
Carrots. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so what a great summer program for those clover buds and something to engage them throughout the the couple months. And
yeah, and it's so fun. I love the pictures from last year where they're planting, but then to the very end holding up those carrots in her hand. That was really a fun program. So I'm hoping this year that we can kind of do some programs along the way. I know there's activities in the calendar for the kids in that, but really trying to get the kids outside. I am ready for that. I know we're all adults are ready for that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it sounds like it's a great thing. I mean, just getting kids involved in gardening. I mean, I think a lot of people might not think about that, but I mean, how easy it is to have a container garden. You don't necessarily have to have a big plot of land to have a garden. It can be container gardens, and they can still raise produce to use in the kitchen or share with neighbors.
We're talking about doing some 5-gallon bucket salsa gardening. So this would be for 8 to 12-year-olds this summer, or 8 to 18, sorry. Okay. And we're talking about offering that. So they get 2 buckets, and then they get a tomato plant. If they want to put a pepper plant, they could, but they'll get an onion bulb in that. And then obviously teaching them how to make salsa when their produce is ready. So again, trying to incorporate all these life skills into one program is just, I think it's such a cool thing we get to do for our jobs.
Absolutely. Well, and sometimes new things scare people. I mean, if they don't know about it, the idea of growing something is scary, but to find out how easy it is, if you can do this in a 5-gallon bucket and end up with fresh salsa at the end of it, what a reward.
Bring it on, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. And so, I know for Aubrey last year, we had to talk a lot about when a tomato or something is ripe enough to pick, so all of that is all about patience.
Yes.
And teaching no, you have to wait till it's actually red. You don't want to pick it when it's green. We can't do anything with it.
Right.
Now getting 3-year-old Kinsey down that boat, that's a little different. We're still working on that.
Yes. Yeah, I could see that. They get excited as soon as they see that produce. They want to pick it right then.
Absolutely. And I try to tell him no way, we can actually make our salsa, make our food with it afterwards. So
yeah. All right. My next question is kind of a twofold question. It's, partly why do you believe in 4-H so much? And then also, why do you enjoy your job so much? I feel like it might be kind of the same answer. So that's why I made it in one question.
I think for me, a lot of times we don't realize what we get out of 4-H as a kid until you're already out of it. And so along the way, I think we have to keep evolving with kids to find out what are their sparks, what do they like, and interest changed. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know mine did along the years, throughout the years, even though I had a long laundry list of projects, those were over 10 years. I didn't take them all the time. Yeah. But I think that's the most rewarding thing is watching the kids evolve and grow. Mm-hmm. And then when they get into their career, they get to college, they get on to the next stage in life, and they look back and they're like, wow, like, you remember when we did that overnight retreat? Do you remember when I went to this conference? Do you remember when I did this? Like, they realize everything along the way they have built on. And I think that for me is probably the most rewarding and why I like my job and keep going and keep doing it. Because we have new kids, new sparks, new ways to reach them. And so we just keep going.
Yeah.
Is that good?
No, it is good. Yeah. I would say I definitely agree with that. I mean, I've been here several years now, and having now seen some of the youth that when I first started, and now they're adults and they're in the community, and I see them, you know, whether they're a vet tech or they're an ag business or something like that. And I'm very proud of them, of what they've accomplished.
I'll give a quick story. So there is a woman now. I know it's crazy to think like they're grown up, she's not a kid, but she's from Iroquois County, really big into poultry and animals. Well, I had somebody message me, one of my personal friends, and say, "Hey, do you know someone who owns geese or has geese?" And I was like, "I think I do." So we were Facebook friends, and so I Facebooked her, and she has become now like the go-to person for poultry and animals. And I just think that's super neat how I knew her as a young teen growing up, who kind of had this passion for animals, and now she's become the expert and the go-to person. And I just think that's pretty cool to bring it back full circle.
Oh yeah.
To do that.
It's rewarding. It knows that you know that your job meant something, that you've made a difference. And so.
Yeah. And that if 4-H wasn't here, who knows if she would have developed that passion or spark and led her to where she's at today. So I think that's pretty neat.
Right. I also know that I've talked to a lot of kids too that never would have thought of following a path until they took a 4-H project, you know, and then they decided, hey, I really like this, and then pursued it. So
yeah, I agree. I think I see that, and all it really takes is one experience, and I think that's really neat. You talked about Delaney Smith before. I think she's a prime example. She got bit by that travel bug, and now she's got it and trying to, figure out how that fits into her life. And then, is it her career? Is it a hobby? Is it a passion? Well, part of that was sparked by 4-H and her experience, traveling abroad. So
absolutely,
I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah. Yeah, because she might not have even considered it if it wasn't for 4-H International, to have that opportunity to do that. So
absolutely. Well, and even, myself, I never really considered 4-H as a career path, but I knew it was here because I was a 4-Her and my mom was a leader, in that. And so I think part of that is just even your awareness that 4-H is here. Extension can be a career path. And if youth is not your passion, we have horticulture, we have nutrition and wellness, we have all sorts of outreach programs that we can do that people could find their career path in.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great program. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Jamie. I appreciate just getting to hear more about your 4-H story and you sharing with us just your passion for 4-H. It definitely shows. And the 4-H program is very lucky to have you as an educator in all the years that you've been doing this and serving youth in the counties. Well, thank you. This was fun to kind of go back down memory lane a little bit. So thank you. All right. And so that's Jamie Bass. She's a 4-H youth development educator with Piatt and DeWitt counties.